Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and we got a really special treat for you today. Pat Miletich is joining me in studio in the other room to talk solutions. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there come down on me because you think, oh, he's too much doom and gloom. Oh, he doesn't focus enough on solutions. And yet, I tell people the number one solution is getting involved in your own life and being self-reliant as much as possible. Some blueprints aren't going to be the same for everybody, but there are definitely certain things that you and your family can take steps towards to become more self-reliant, more independent right after this broadcast. Hell, during this broadcast. And to talk about some of those things is my good friend and UFC legend, Pat Miletich. Pat, you just had a nice little dinner with your daughters. How you feeling?
Oh, I feel good. I noticed. So when I used to go to Panera's and I'd order the turkey avocado BLT, it would have a massive pile of turkey on it, plenty of bacon, avocado, two paper thin slices of turkey on the sandwich. And that's an indicator that there's a little bit of shortage of turkey apparently for Panera, the corporation.
Well, just the fact you're going to Panera Bread absolutely disgusts me. I am not a Panera man.
I haven't been there. Look, I haven't been there for 2 years probably.
Mhm.
That tells you how long it's been, but it tells you I'm going to notice a massive difference in the amount of meat on a sandwich, right?
Well, one of the very big things that you and I have talked about over the last 2+ years during this COVID 1984 nightmare is that you can't just print money out of nothing and continue to give it to people and not have inflation. And now what we're seeing is close to hyperinflation, right? And you can't
Right.
have supply chain issues with things like fertilizer and basic medicines, etc., without what? Shortages on those things as well. And
Sure.
now, 2+ years later, we're seeing that in mass in certain urban areas. We are seeing shelves cleared of produce, of, obviously meats. These things have gone through the roof. Milk has gone through the roof. Gas has gone through the roof. And there really is no signs that this is going to be slowing down, especially with the talking points being Russia, Russia, Russia. It's all Russia's fault. And at the same time, as that's happening, Russia's saying, oh, it's our fault. Well, guess what? We're not going to take the petrodollar anymore. And we're only going to take rubles from Europe and other large nations. And that's almost nowhere in our media. And people don't understand that aspect of it. Why don't you talk about the fuel and just the food shortages alone?
Yeah, well, yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time. The minute that the mask mandates and close your businesses was put out there, we said, look, this leads to some severe problems. I don't think you realize where this is headed. And one is obviously productivity disappears. Nobody's at work. Nobody's manufacturing. Meat, processing facilities. The people that are, picking the produce. The people that are packing the produce. None of that's happening. All that sort of stuff. Test runs. See where it goes. And farmers were the ones that couldn't get rid of their hogs, like some of the farmers that we helped locally anyway, to send them to local meat lockers and get rid of their hogs. I mean, there were a lot of hog farms, people that just had to put their hogs down and bulldoze them into holes in the ground, whatever they had to do with them to dispose of them. So this is really bad, right? So these are early indicators that we're gonna have some problems. The microprocessors for trucks, the chips, for other vehicles. They're shutting down automotive plants in Wisconsin, I think, and Detroit or Michigan, that make the Mustangs and a bunch of other Ford vehicles, and they're just doing away with. I think there's some Dodges as well. So look, stuff's going away, and it's going away by design. That's just the way it is. And you know, the the ease of now blaming because of the Ukraine Russian conflict that was set up in 2014 with the Nazi takeover of the Ukrainian government, which Americans seem to have amnesia and can't. Well, they didn't know what was happening in the first
Exactly.
place.
It's not so much amnesia, it's just ignorance all the way around. I mean, you talk to most of these people, they don't even understand that the guy that's the leader there, Zelensky, is actually a comedic actor. They don't understand he was the guy on the perfect phone call with Trump who actually allowed the corruption to happen via Biden and his son. Basically,
Right.
Zelensky's the guy that ended up, firing the prosecutor on behalf of that $1 billion that Joe was going to get back on a plane with 8
Right.
hours later. They have none of this background. So even people, again, and that they're caught up in team baseball, Pat, and that's one of the solutions. Get out of the team baseball. So those people that are big Trump supporters and, they love Donnie T, they don't even get that Zelensky is one of the guys that went along with the false narrative that got him impeached a second time. They don't understand that he's a puppet of the military-industrial complex and that deep state that they talk so much about.
Right. Yeah, the Azov groups, the battalions over there in the Ukraine, were the ones that were they overthrew the government and put Alinsky and the vice president in position. There's a picture of Alinsky. If you look hard enough, you can find it. He's got a green T-shirt on, and it's got it's got a German iron cross on it. Look, there's a lot of imposters that say they're, Christians, Catholics, and they're not. They're absolutely not Christian. They are on the dark side, without a doubt. There are people within the Jewish religion that are absolutely not part of that religion. There are people that say they're part of the Muslim religion that are absolutely not. So the billions and billions of people that are, and not even including Buddhism and Hinduism, but those three other major religions. The billions of people that practice those religions they're good people. They just don't know what the hell's going on for the most part, unfortunately, and they're not aware of it. So Zelensky, I can say clearly, look, I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm not an anti-Christian. I'm not anti-Islam. I'm anti-satanic son of a... I'm just the way it is. Look, you call it for what it is. I mean, if a duck walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And so, he's just flat out wearing an iron cross on a T-shirt. So that's the way it is. You've got Nazis controlling the Ukraine. And look, we're looking at, I had one of my friends who's helping me business-wise to build a lot of really cool stuff. The Self-Defense Warrior podcast and the website to work on my soil conditioner project that's going to, basically, it could, if farmers really truly want to pay attention to this, we can organically save their fields, reclimate their soil, bring it back to nutrient levels of 200 years ago, and do some amazing things. But my friend who was, the guy who built probably, I think without a doubt, it's the biggest software and sold the biggest software company in Silicon Valley history, called me up one day, I don't know, 4 weeks ago, and kind of in a really urgent voice. And he's a guy that's in the know. But it suddenly dawned on him. He goes, we're looking at a Stalin-like famine, global food famine. And I said, I know. That's what we've been talking about. That's by design.
And just so everybody understands, recently the fertilizer has now been taken off the sanctions list. But what's already been done via sanctions in the last 2 months, a lot of people know about the oil, right? They understand the products. They see the headlines. Oh my goodness, McDonald's isn't going to do business, and Starbucks isn't going to do business, and Burger King's not going to do business in Russia. They don't read the fine print where the people who are actually paying for the franchises at Burger King are like, no, we're not shutting our fucking business down. We're going to continue to make money. But one of those sanctions very much is on fertilizer, and Russia globally,
they're our biggest supplier.
Yeah, they're a
huge
biggest supplier. So
and we have to
sanctions
remember
that have already happened, Pat, could starve out upwards of 500 million to 1 billion people that you're not going to hear about in the second and third world. Yeah, we're going to see price hikes. Yeah, we're going to see inflation. But we never, ever, ever actually see the hyper destruction in real time in some of these other places. But now there's a possibility that could come here.
Well, here's what the thing is. It doesn't matter if sanctions are lifted on the fertilizer. It's already $250 to $300 per acre for farmers to fertilize their crop or to fertilize their land. So they're already planting. I mean, they need to make $6, what, $6 a bushel, I think, to even break even, and they're not going to be able to do it. I mean, $6 rarely ever happens in history, and so a lot of farmers are choosing not to use fertilizer, to use a quarter of the fertilizer, half the fertilizer. Some have ordered a quarter, a half, and can't afford to order all of it, or are trying to wait for the cost to go down, which is not going to happen. I mean, they're not going to just wind up this situation in the Ukraine and Russia and just go, we're all friends again. That's not how this is going to work.
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and if you enjoyed my interview with Pat Miletich, that was just a very small portion. Go see the full thing over at the Rockfin, over at rockfin.com/Jason Bermas. And if you want it in audio format via podcast, go check out the infowarrior.podbean.com. Get it there. Like, share, subscribe. Support us if you can. And remember, it's never about left or right, and it is always about right and wrong. We'll see you on the flip side.